All right, in this video, we're going to continue on with our 3x3 system of equations with one solution. Example 1, part B, we have x minus 3y minus 2z equals 9, 3x plus 2y plus 6z equals 20, and 4x minus y plus 3z equals 25. So once again, let's first get our augmented matrix. So we'll look at the coefficients of the variables on the right. So we have 1, negative 3, negative 2. Penmanship is really poor. 3, 2, and 6. And then 4, negative 1, and 3. And again, if you're ever missing a variable, just fill it in with a 0 for the coefficient. I will draw a vertical line to separate the left and right-hand sides, and then 9, 20, and 25. Ugh. Again, it's not overly responsive. All right, so once again, we want to get our upper left value equal to 1, which luckily it already is. And now, to get the values below it equal to 0, we're going to take the opposite of each of these numbers. So we're going to take negative 3 times row number 1, and we're going to add that to row number 2, where the value 3 is. And that's going to give us a new row number 2. Negative 4 times row number 1 plus row number 3 will get this value equal to 0. So again, it becomes quite easy once you get the hang of it. It just takes, sometimes it does take a while though, so don't beat yourself up over it. But eventually you get that eureka moment, which we all love. All right, so second row, third row, those are going to change. Our first row is not going to change in this step. So we can just recopy it and get 1, negative 3, negative 2, 9. All right. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, plus 3 is 0. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. Negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. Negative 27 plus 20 is negative 7. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Plus 4 is 0. Negative 3 times negative 4 is 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. And negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. Negative 36 plus 25 is negative 11. All right, so now we want to get the value in the second row, second column, equal to 1, which for this one, because it's 11, we would have to either multiply the second row by 1 over 11, or again, you could just divide the second row by 11. And now that's all well and good, and you are absolutely allowed to do that. However, you're going to get 12 over 11 here and negative 7 over 11 here. So rather than work with fractions, if we take a look at the third row is a lot friendlier. So what we're going to do is we'll get this 11 up into the second row. We can switch row number 2 and row number 3. So again, even I try to avoid getting fractions involved, especially something like 12 over 11 and negative 7 over 11. If at all possible. Although, again, you are allowed to, but it just makes it so much easier if we switch these two rows and then divide that row by 11, as we'll do. So we're going to switch row number 2 and row number 3. So this is a great example of when it's good to do something like that, where we have that ability to switch rows. So, okay. First row is not going to change. We got 1, negative 3, negative 2, and 9. Again, I apologize for the penmanship. There's a little bit of lag. Okay. And now the third row, we're going to write it as the second row. So we're just switching these two rows. So we got 0, 11, 11, and negative 11. And then this row is now row number 3. So 0, 11, 12, and negative 7. All right. So now getting this value equal to 1, we're going to divide the second row by 11, but notice we're not going to have any fractions over here. So that was the whole reason behind doing that. So row number 2, we're going to divide row number 2 by 11, and that's going to be our new row number 2. Get a different writing tablet and stylus here. This is even hard for me to read, and I apologize. So again, this first column, once it's set, is not going to change if we don't make any mistakes. Row number 2 is what gets affected, so row number 1 is still the same. Maybe I can make a 9 that actually looks like a 9. Good enough. I'll take it. When we divide everything in this row by 11, we get a 1, and a -1 on the right. And then row number 3, we haven't done anything with that just yet. So this is where having line paper is very handy. All right, so now we got this second row, second column value at 1, which is good. So we got this equal to 1. Now we're going to get the values above and below it equal to 0 by looking at the opposite of those values like we did in this first step. So let's see, we have a -3 in row number 1. So we take row number 2 and multiply it by +3. So +3 times row number 2, that's an R, by the way, and add it to row number 1. We can make that our new row number 1. Same thing with the 11 below it. Take the opposite of 11 is -11. -11 times this value plus 11 will give us a 0. So -11 times row number 2 plus row number 3 will give us our new row number 3. Again, I apologize for the penmanship. It's the best I can do. All right, so let's see. Row number 2 is not going to change. Row number 2 is not going to change. So let's see. We know this first column's, once it's set, it's not going to change either. So this one's going to be a 0. 3 times 1 plus -3. 3 times 1 plus -3 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus -2 is 1. And then also the right side. 3 times -1 is -3. -3 plus 9 is 6. So there's our new row number 1. We can copy these values. 1, 1, -1. All right. Now, -11 times 1 is -11. Plus 11 is 0. So now we've set the second column. -11 times 1 is -11. -11 plus 12 is 1. So that's nice. And then -1 times -11 is 11. 11 plus -7 is 4. All right, so the good news is with that operation, we already have the third row, third column already equal to 1, so we lucked out. So looking at the values above them, they're both 1s. So if we take the opposite of each of these 1s is -1, so if we take -1 times row number 3 and add it to row number 1, that'll create a 0 here, and then same thing with row number 2. So -1 times row number 3, if we add that result to row number 1, that's going to cause that to equal 0, as we'll see. That'll be our new row number 1. Same thing with this one. This is a 1, so we take the opposite of that is -1 times row number 3 plus row number 2, and that's going to be our new row number 2. All right, so almost done, getting real close. All right, so we know these first two columns are going to stay 1, 0, 0 and 0, 1, 0. So they set it and forget it. So 1 times -1 is -1. -1 plus 1 is 0. -1 plus this one is also 0. All right, so 4 times -1 is -4. -4 plus 6 is 2. 4 times -1 is -4. -4 minus 1 is -5. And so we have our 1s along this main diagonal and 0s elsewhere, which means our answer for x, our solution, is 2, y is -5, and z is 4. So the ordered triple is 2 for x, followed by negative 5 for y, followed by 4 for z. Good enough. All right, that about does it for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll take a look at some special solutions in the next